You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So the defense had a really good week against the Temple Owls. We're expecting big things out of them this year. Jay, what are you looking forward to seeing from this defense against Houston?
Look, Houston comes into this game, defensive efficiency on ESPN at exactly, I'm still scrolling, 132nd in the country. They are one of the worst offenses out there. Donovan Smith, who we thought he looks the part, 6'5", he's a big framey guy. He is not healthy.
At Tech.
Yeah, he had good moments at Tech. He was a pain in our butt at Tech. But he doesn't look healthy. And I think that shoulder surgery he had at the beginning of the year for that labrum, I don't think it's gotten better. And because of that, he looks like he's quite suspect. So to me, the defense needs to swarm the heck out of him. The offensive line still doesn't have its chemistry or cohesion. They're kind of small too. We should be able to power through that and get some borderline record-breaking numbers on the defensive side of the ball. Either it's through turnovers, which we'll talk about our boldest predictions on the next seg, but from turnovers to sacks to tackles for loss, I expect for us to fly. But if there's anything, John, I'm really looking for, when we get to the 3 deep, how long will it take for us to get that far?
Yeah, I think it's possible you see a guy like Marcus Strong again. You know, he's not one of your top 4 or 5 defensive tackles, but with 2 sacks at the end of the game, you know, he's going to earn a few more opportunities. When are we going to see, you know, the freshman safeties? You know, I think you'll see them early and often as well, because they showed out when given opportunities in this, in the first game of the season. This just feels like a game where your linebackers are going to have to be on point. You know, I'm expecting them to use a lot of their linebacker depth. Danny Sussman obviously will have a big day because they're going to try to get the ball out of Donovan Smith's hands pretty quick. You know, the way that, you know, Houston's offense isn't able to move the football, they don't have the time, they don't have the luxury to take time in the pocket. So look for a lot of quick stuff, a lot of, you know, wide receiver screens, a lot of, you know, draw plays, stuff where they try to use misdirection to take advantage of Oklahoma's aggressiveness a little bit. But this is where your linebackers, being one more experienced than they were a year ago, definitely deeper than they were a year ago and 2 years ago. That's gonna help Oklahoma because they're not going to get fooled so easily. And I think they're going to be kind of ready for the misdirection stuff because Houston's not going to be able to come straight at Oklahoma and have any success. You know, Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams, Dejon Terry, David Stone, Grayson Halton, they'll feast if Houston tries to run between the tackles or if they try to let Donovan Smith take 5-7 step drops. Like, those dudes are going to feast. R. Mason Thomas, Ethan Downs, Caden Willer, all those guys will just eat Houston's offensive line alive. So I think they're going to have to do something to scheme him away from pressure.
Yeah, I don't expect them to do any plays that he has to drop back more than like a two-step drop at most, right? They'll be in shotgun. So I expect for it to be a one boom and get rid of. Yeah. I expect a lot of screens, a lot of just quick drags, whatever they've got to do to prevent Donovan from holding the ball. I don't know honestly, I don't even know how much scrambling he's going to be able to do if that shoulder is still bothering him, because he can't lower his shoulder and run nobody over, right? And if he takes the wrong shot from one of our guys, in which we've seen how we like to hit right now, you don't want to do that to yourself. And I think they're going to probably pay attention to that, right? Now, they may go even deeper in their depth chart, bringing the backup quarterback who had a decent outing to end the game, right? But right now, it definitely is Donovan Smith's team, and they've got to figure something out. And the biggest thing is they've got to have to go very, very fast with their pass game or figure out their run game. Now, with the way our defense is playing, that linebacker room, when we can go 3 deep, they're going to be causing havoc. And to be honest, John, I actually sense that we're probably going to come out there with more exotic plays on the defensive side. I'm expecting more blitzing. I'm expecting to come out of nowhere with stuff, because we already saw how good Kendall Dobley is. We already saw how well Kobe McKenzie is when he comes to blitzing. Reggie Powers did well over there as well. Adding that element with the defensive linemen getting a lot of pressure, man, I know Gabe and Teddy are expecting potential record-breaking on sacks. I don't see it, but I can totally see us making this dude. I can see less than 50% completion percentage by Donovan Smith.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a game where if he doesn't have somebody open right away, it's gonna be Oklahoma just having a field day. And I don't imagine necessarily that he will have people open right away because Oklahoma's pretty decent in coverage. And now they've got like a little Drake Stoops in their own right.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on his name. I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's a interesting one. But just a guy that plays similarly to that. And so they'll try to go to him pretty often to get him the ball in quick space, in quick passing schemes, just to get the ball out of Donovan's hands really quickly. But I think ultimately they're going to be in a lot of third down and long situations, and that's going to benefit everybody on Oklahoma's side of the ball. Like R. Mason Thomas, I think is going to come through, get a couple sacks in this one. I think the defensive tackle group will be as disruptive as they were last week. May not have as many sacks, but they will create a ton of pressure. And Houston's just not going to be able to run the football against them. Houston abandoned the run pretty quickly last week. They did not give their starter very many opportunities. And they're not going to get a lot of opportunities this week because Oklahoma's going to be really, really good against the run. And it's not going to go well for the Cougars.
It probably won't. I think, do you think about Mekhi Muse, the little 5'8" wide receiver that they had running around out there?
No, that's not. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still
He's
having
littlest one.
Still having my COVID brain farts. Sorry.
No, it's no problem. But they do have some nice little fast type wide receivers that can get out there and cause problems. Hopefully for us, we are ready for any type of routes that they put out there, and we're able to keep up with them. But the thing is that I don't expect them to be able to run any of their plays, especially anything deep, very fast. Right? It's going to be quick plays. They're going to have to dump the ball as fast as possible. So to me, I think that the linebacker, the defensive line is going to get the pressure. The linebacker room is going to do enough to where they disguise enough of their defenses to where it's going to be hard for them to get the ball out there. I think the other thing that's going to help us a lot too is that we're wearing the throwback jerseys, and Houston also wears red technically. So because of that, there may be an opportunity where they have no clue who's on what team. And they just got, hey, I thought we was at home. I didn't realize we weren't at home anymore. Damn. We're actually wearing white today. Darn. Yeah.
Joseph Manjack the fourth. That's the wide receiver.
Manjack. Yeah.
That's like a Drake Stoops kind of starter kit.
He's
a little bit.
6'3", 205. He's a lot bigger than Drake.
Okay, maybe. So I misjudged.
I like the name Manjack. That was pretty cool. I actually like that.
That was some stereotyping on my part. Got the lunch pail out and all that jazz. But no, I think he's going to be the go-to guy for Donovan Smith. And if Oklahoma can keep him covered, then they'll be in good shape. But just limit the explosive plays like you did last week, and it'll be fine. Oklahoma will have a great defensive performance just like they did a week ago. We'll get to some bold predictions. We'll give you our prediction for this week, and we'll look at some of the key SEC matchups coming up in week 2, coming up next on Locked On Sooner.